Hello everyone, my name is Fajar Kempas Adinugraha and I'm a student from Management International Class Batch 2016, and in this occasion I would like to give an explanation about the performance management, and this task is to fulfill my assignment for the midterm assignment uh, from for the subject performance management. It is lectured by Mr. Adi Mursalin. So first of all, in this section, I would like to explain you about the managing underperformance. So what is managing underperformance? So managing underperformance is when a manager is managing the employees or the workers' performance that is not based on the criteria, or they don't achieve the objective of the goals that they have set before. So it's called underperformance. And then in this managing underperformance section, there are 2 points that needed to highlight. The first is the problem of underperformance, and then how to dealing with underperformance. So let's start with the explanation about the problem underperformance first. So in the problem of underperformance, uh, before we get into that further, there are a survey conducted by IRS. It is conducted by Wolf, and then it's resulted that there are worker experience underperformance. So this survey was conducted in like hundreds of business organization, and then when they conducted it, it was resulted that there are still a worker that experience underperformance, and this problem it occurred because many of the workers still consider the manager does not capable of managing the underperformance of this worker. So instead, the worker are solving the underperformance by themselves without the help of their managers. And the way of dealing this for manager, according to Sheffer, is that the manager have to evasion through rationalization. It means like it's like kind of like evaluation of what the workers do, and then identify what kind of underperformance that they have done, and then rationalize it. And then the second things about how to dealing this for the manager is reliance on procedure. So at first when they started the objective, when they started a set of goals to to deny this kind of underperformance, they have to reliance on procedure, because if it's not reliance on procedure, they will be hard to how can they will solve this kind of problem, because there is no procedure how to solve it like that. And then the third is attack that skirt the target. So it means like back on it, the procedure before, as I said before, it was like how can they be balance it between the procedure and then the underperformance that they have done like that. And then the second point about managing underperformance is dealing with underperformance. So of course, after we have discussed about the problem of underperformance, which is made by the manager itself because they don't know how to solve it, instead the worker are solving it by themselves. So how to dealing it, there are approaches. The first is general approaches that been used by many of the managers. It is how to solve the poor communication with clarity of expectation on objective. It means like how the manager could make a good communication with their workers about the problems that occur with these underperformance things. So and then the clarity of expectation and objective is like when they set the goals, they already know the expectation of how that goals could be achieved and how that objective could be achieved. And then after that, they can reliance on the capabilities of the workers. Are they going to be are they will be handled it good? Are they going to be handled this great? Because if it's not, how can the clarity of this expectation and objective that they've been set before could be happen like that? So the main thing is in here is that the communication, the manager have to build a good communication with the worker, and then the manager have to deliver the good clarity of the expectation and objective with their workers. And then the second approaches is the specific approaches. So the specific approaches to managing underperformance, the first is the manager and employee jointly agree an improvement plan with time scale. I think it means like the manager and employee are making an agreement about the improvement plan with time scale. So each of the month or each of the quarter, there will be like a set of improvement plan. So each is like a checkpoint, like when they have reach the first phase of their workers, they will know what kind of things that have been achieved, what kind of things that not been achieved. So the things that not been achieved will be achieved in the next phase, in the next quarter, or in the next month. It's like the time scale itself will be different in each of the phase. And then the second point in here is the manager and the employee agree to more regular informal and performance review. I think it's like the manager and employment agree how to set a meeting without making it too formal, because if it's too formal, it will be a result that the workers to be being pushed by the workers, so it makes them not join about what they're working. So instead of making that kind of atmosphere, so manager have to make more regularly meeting, but with informal atmosphere. So it makes the manager and employee could make also a good communication, as like the general approaches before that have been stated, that the manager and have to make a good communication with their workers, with their subordinate. And then the third point in here is join agree on provision of specific coaching and training. So after the setting the informal meeting before, so in here manager and the worker have to be making a specific coaching and training about how can they solve kind of problem that been occur in their organization, so that the worker could be capable doing the working situation with this coaching and training, so they could be understand what kind of things that they need to be ready for to prepare if the problems that been happened before could occur again, and they know how to solve it. So manager have to conduct a coaching and training about this thing. And then the next point is the manager agrees to provide more coaching or guidance. So in coaching or guidance, I think it's more like in the first they are training, and then after that the guidance. So it's more like the um, how can the worker can doing it practically, because before it's just a training, so it's just like a demo, it's just like a training, and then after that they will be doing it in a reality. So in this reality it's called the guidance, so the manager have to set the guidance of how the worker should be doing their work greatly to prevent that underperformance going to be happen again. And then the next point is a joint reevaluation of performance expectation. So manager and worker have making an expectation of about how the worker going to be happen, because without setting an expectation, each of these manager and workers could not make a good vision about how could it will be happen. It's like the manager would be so making it like it's their own ego to make this kind of plan, but they don't deliver it to their worker about the expectation about how this plan could be happen, because uh, the worker expectation could be different with the manager expectation. Like, so they have to balance each of these expectation, both of the workers and both and the manager, so that the plan would be happen, and then there will be no underperformance of the workers. And then the next point is about the 5 basic steps to manage underperformance. So in this point, there will be some kind of step to manage, for the manager to manage the underperformance of their worker. So then the first step that the manager have to do is to identify and agree the problem. So if there is underperformance occur within the workers, several workers, so the manager have to identify what kind of problem that occur with these workers, and then agree that this problem is a cure. Because if both party, worker and manager, could not agree about this problem, and they have a great fight between each other because they don't agree with this problem that occur, it could be problems of relationship between the workers and the manager. So both of the parties have to agree the problem that occur, because it will make a good it will make a good relationship between the manager and the workers. And then the second step that the managers have to do is establish the reason for the shortfall. So it means like the manager have to agree about the reason why does the worker is underperformance, like that. So for example, the underperformance worker is not doing their job well. Example, in the marketing division, there are one there are one workers that does not make a good performance. So after identifying and agree the problems, the manager have to establish the reason why does this worker does not does do the underperformance. They don't have productivity with that worker. So for example, this worker is not working because is not make a good performance because of his ability is not capable in managing in the marketing division. So that's the reason of why the worker is not working good, because he doesn't have the ability of marketing. So the we move to the next step, which is decide and agree on the action required. So in this step, I mean, the manager have to decide and agree that this worker does not fit in the marketing division, must move to the another division, or maybe he have to be making the training or something. So basically, there are a communication between the worker and the manager about how they could solve this kind of problem of underperformance. So for example, the worker is agreed that he or she wanted to move to another division rather than being in that marketing, that making him or her does not with their patient. So the action that required for the manager is to move this worker to another division in order to make it not underperformance. And then the fourth step, the next step after the action required for the manager, is resource the action. So resource the action, it means what kind of uh, several instruments, several things that needed managers to do. For example, that before the manager that was agree to move to another division, what kind of resources that needed to do, like maybe the training for that division that needed to, after they move, maybe like the worker is moving to the division of finance. So what kind of resources, such as training of bookkeeping, or training of using the electronic data or something like that. So this is kind of resource the action. What kind of several action steps that the managers should do, or the availability of things that needed to do of the managers in order to make this worker that already moved to another division, in order to make it not underperformance, of course. And then the fifth step is monitor and provide the feedback. The monitor and provide the feedback, it means like after we take the example again that the worker that have moved to the finance division, he will be needed to monitor does he or she is still under performance or in a good performance in that division. So monitor is like we see how the development of that workers, does he or she make a good progress when the manager have take the action. And then after that, provide the feedback. Provide the feedback means the several things that the monitoring action have done, there will be a feedback from that. There will be a feedback from that, because in every report of that monitor, we needed to make a feedback in order to make that worker itself making a great development in developing their skill and career in our company, in our business organization. So that's the five basic steps to manage underperformance for managers. And also that's the last thing that I have needed to explain. So thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day.